Maintaining repeating elements on Framer pages such as navigations and footers have been a little tedious up until now. Anytime we wanted to update the position of our navigation or just simply add the navigation to our website, we literally had to go on each page and do the modifications or add the navigations separately one by one. From now on, this gets much easier thanks to a new Framer feature called layout templates. In this crash course, you are learning everything you need to know about it, so you can build better, more scalable websites. My name is Nandi, this is Framer University, and let's get started. So in this video, I'm going to cover a few key points. We're going to go through 3 sections. In the first section, I'm going to talk about what is layout templates and how we can use it. Then we're going to talk about some additional advantages that we get with them, because it's going to be pretty easy to understand in just a minute. But on top of those things, it is going to do even more things for us, which I'm going to highlight in the second section. Third section will be about my new default responsive site structure that I'm going to be using from now on, because layout templates will change a couple of things. But also premix links, a bunch of premix links will be down in the description, so check out those as well. And let's dive into the first part of the video and talk about what is layout templates. So basically, again, the problem was with Framer sites when we were creating a little bit bigger sites is that we had to add our navigations to all of the pages separately. So for example, here's a Framer project, and you can see that I have this navigation here on the home page. If I want to add this navigation to all of my pages, I have to copy it and then go to resources, and I have to paste it here. And I have to do this on all other pages, templates, and everywhere else. And if you think about it, if you have like 50 pages like this, it's not really going to be great, like pasting this navigation into each of your pages separately. And if you think about it, if you decide that you want to remove the navigation, or you just want to maybe just change its positioning, you have to, again, go back to all of the pages and update each and every one of them separately. Again, not so great. So what is the solution for this? Well, the Framer team created layout templates. So basically with layout templates, we're going to be able to define these templates with fixed elements that will be applied to all pages on our website. So basically we can define the navigation and footer as fixed elements on a template, and then it's just going to be applied to all pages. Super easy. So how are we creating a layout template? So basically what we have to do is we have to come here, for example, to a navigation. We can just right click here and we can create a layout template with it. But by the way, you can also just come here to assets and create a layout template here. So I'm going to right click here and create a layout template. As you can see, I can name my template here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just call it default. And as you can see, now this will be applied to all of my pages. So I'm going to hit create. And now you can see that this is the layout template editor view. It looks pretty similar to the component editor view. So this is where we are defining the layout template. So the navigation is already added. It's on the top and it has the fixed positioning with top, left and right 0 pins, which I already defined on the desktop. And you can see that on the left layers panel, I have the navigation, and then we also have a placeholder. And we cannot really delete these or move it anywhere. It's just uneditable, and I cannot even add styles to it on the right panel. So basically this placeholder frame will be where the page content will appear. So if we go back to the home, you can now see that if I select the desktop breakpoint on the right, now we will see this template here. And you can see that now the default layout template is applied. And so now if I place any elements here within, you're going to see that they are going to be placed within this placeholder frame that is right here. So all content that is nested within breakpoints on individual pages will be placed within the placeholder. Everything else, so for example the navigation and soon the footer, will be fixed elements that we will no longer be able to edit here from the page level. As you can see, they are not nested within the desktop breakpoint. The footer is still here because I haven't added it to the layout template, but we're going to edit really soon. So let's just edit actually. So I'm going to just copy it from here, and I'm going to also delete it because we no longer need it here. And we're going to add it to the layout template. By the way, an easy way to go back to editing the layout template is either going here to the right after selecting the breakpoint and clicking edit, or clicking an element that is part of the layout template as a fixed element. So for example, the navigation. So I'm going to just double click the navigation and you can see that now I'm again within the layout template editor view. So here I can press Command V to paste the footer in, and you can see that now it's below the placeholder. So it's a perfect position because it needs to be below all the content on each page, and then it is set to with fill, so everything is set up correctly. So now if I go back to the home, I can now see that the footer is here and the navigation is here as well. So if I now start adding some elements within this desktop breakpoint, you're going to see that they are going to be placed within the placeholder. So let me just copy this section, I'm going to paste it within the desktop, and then I'm going to also paste in this other section. And you can see that it just nicely grows with the website. I'm going to just set them quickly to fill with so they're not overflowing the breakpoint. But yeah, you can see it just works really nicely. The fixed elements that I defined on the layout template are staying right here. Navigation on the top, footer on the bottom. And yeah, it just works really nicely. If I go to other pages like resources, you can see that the layout template is applied here as well. One important thing that you might notice is that now as we applied the default layout template to our breakpoint here on the homepage, for example, we can no longer edit the properties of the desktop breakpoint. We can add effects to it and we have export and header, but this is not really important for us. We lost all the styling options. If I remove this layout template, by the way, you can see this is all the styling options that we usually have. Now that we have a layout template applied, that's all gone. Why? Because it's within the layout template. So if we go within edit, this is where we are going to be actually defining all those properties. So the gap, the alignment, the padding, the background color, and everything else that we used to define on the page breakpoint level. And this is also better because then I can just change my background color here on the layout template and it will change on all pages where it's applied. Another thing that I want to mention here is that don't be confused with the height of your layout template. It doesn't really matter what height it has right here, because it will just naturally grow with the page content. So the more content you place here within on your different breakpoints, the bigger it will get. So you can see, for example, right here, the navigation is here on the top, footer is here on the bottom. This page is now around 2000 pixels in height, but this little layout template here is only like 1000 pixels. So yeah, again, it just doesn't really matter what height it has here in the layout template editor view. And again, with this setup, it's super easy to edit anything regarding these fixed elements. So for example, if I wanted to move this navigation for some reason a little bit more to the bottom on all pages, of course, I would just need to edit the layout template. So I'm just moving it down here. And now you can see that on the home page, it's moved down. And if I go and check out the resources, it's also down right here, templates, it updated here as well, and on the updates page as well, because all of these have the same layout template applied. Okay, so now it's very clear why layout templates are good and why we should use them. But what are some additional advantages that we get with this new feature? Let's talk about them. So the most important thing that I have to cover here is the fact that these elements that are placed within the layout template and are fixed, so not the placeholder, but all the other frames that we are adding or components. So in this case, the navigation and the footer will not reload when we are switching between different pages. So when we're navigating on our website, for example, clicking resources, templates, updates, these elements, the navigation and footer, is not reloading. You could ask, Nandi, why is this good for me? What can I get with this? Well, let me show you. So the first example I want to show you is continuous animations. So you can see that I have a navigation here within the layout template that has all these different variants where a new menu item is highlighted. We have one for the resource, templates, and updates pages. So I just want to make sure that whenever we are on the resources page, the resources is highlighted. When we're on the templates page, the template page is highlighted, or the template text, and the same for the updates. So how do we do that? Well, if you take a look at the home page here, you can see that there's no way to access the navigation from here. So I cannot really go to, for example, the resources page and switch the variant of the navigation somehow, but we can actually do something else. We can go within the layout template and we can click the navigation, go to the right panel. We can create a little variable right here. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it navi variant, and I'm going to go back to the resources page. So now you can see that as I select the desktop breakpoint, on the right panel I can no longer just see the layout template that is being applied, but now we have an additional property here, the variable that we created for the variants page of the navigation. So here I can switch it to desktop resources. Then I can go to templates, I can switch it to templates here, and I can do the same on the updates. So essentially when we did something similar up until today without layout templates, we just switched the variants of the navigation different pages, we saw something like this. When we navigated to these different pages, the variant just jumped to that new state where a new menu item or new link is highlighted. And this background frame wasn't really moving, it wasn't really animated, because all elements on the page got, reloaded. Since these elements are no longer reloading when we are switching between different pages, you can see that the animation is nicely visible on this component. So as I'm navigating to these different pages, the highlighter in the background is nicely animated from one item to the other. I actually increased the brightness of that little highlighter so you can see it better. So as you can see, it's just nicely getting animated, which is really, really nice. The next example I want to show you is when you have drop-downs in your navigations. So for example, if I preview this, you can see that if I hover over resources, I have this little drop-down. So usually, again, without layout templates, if I transitioned to a new page when this drop-down was opened, it just jumped back to its default state without any animations, which, looked a little bit bad. So it looked something like this, not really great. It would be much better if this would be animating back nicely into its default state. So you can see that now with layout templates, whenever these drop-downs are opened and we navigate to a new page, they're gonna nicely close and there will not be any instant transitions. It's going to be nicely animated because, again, the navigation is not reloaded. It just stays on the page. It completes all animations. Really, really nice. Another cool example is websites that feel like apps. So if you look at this example, we have this floating navigation on the bottom, just like in mobile apps. And when we click one of these, you can see how the website just starts sliding to the left and right. And also here, the little highlighter again on the navigation is not it actually gets animated and is not instant. So, it just looks like a really, really cool experience to navigate this website. So let's just take a quick look on how you can achieve something like this. So, we already talked about the variant switch, which we do on the navigation. So on the templates page, we switch navigation variant to templates by, creating a little variable for it inside of the layout template. But how do we add this nice transition to the page as it's, slides to the left and to the right? Well, we can use page transitions for that. So by default, if we visit this page and we click one of these items, you see that the transition is just instant. You can see how the navigation is getting animated as this highlighter moves from one position to the other, but everything else is just instant and we don't see that nice left to right transition. So we can really easily add that by clicking the breakpoint. And we have to, by the way, do this on all pages, but I'm going to just do it here on the home as an example. So we go to the right panel to effects, and then we select single page. And here we can select which animation we are defining. Well, we want to define what happens when we go from the home page to the templates page. You can see that here's the home, here's the template. So the template is to our right now. So we want to add an exit effect to this page, so the home page. What should happen? Well, opacity shouldn't really drop. We have to keep it on 1, and we have to move this whole home page to the left. So we have to offset it to the left, but we cannot really use fixed values here because we don't know how large the viewport width is. So that's why we're going to use a relative. So we're going to just do minus 100%, which means that it will completely go to the left side. And we can also change the transition here to ease in out and 0.4. And then we do the same thing on the next page. So this is where we're defining how the templates will come in. So the template page will also come in with opacity 1, and it is not going to come in from the left side. It's going to come in from the right side. So we have to initially offset it to the right side by 100% along the x-axis, and also add the modified transition on ease in out 0.4 seconds. So now if you take a look at this, if we click the template, now it is nicely being animated. However, there is a small issue. As you can see, when we are transitioning between these pages, the navigation is also moving, which makes perfect sense because it is part of the page and we're applying a page transition. So how do we make sure that this navigation is excluded from the page transition? Well, we just have to go within the layout template that defines this element and click the navigation, and on the right panel, if we click this plus button next to style, we can add page effect and we can select the exclude option. So this basically means that now the navigation will be excluded from any page effects. They're not gonna, impact it. So we can now take a look at this. We can see the navigation will stay fixed, while other elements on the page are nicely being animated. So yeah, and basically that's what you have to do. You have to define all of these transitions. So you have to also add single page to updates. So you have to define how you go to updates from the home, because now if I just click updates, it's not going to be a nice animation. But seeing how I did the first example here, I think you can also, figure out the rest one. You're just basically moving along the X offset, these different pages, with either 100% or minus 100%, and also changing the opacity to 1. By the way, I'll have this as well in the description as a remix link, so you can also just dig into the file if you don't get something. And now a little extra example. So if you use layout templates in a little bit out of the box way, so I wouldn't say that this is like an intended use case, but if you just think outside of the box, you can create things like this, where you're transitioning between pages with this crazy effect. So you can see that how these are actual page switches. So right now we are on a completely different page. And to prove this to you, I'm going to open this in the browser. So now you can see that I'm on ikeatransition.learnframer.site. And if I click this, the link changed to rustic. And if I close this, I go back to the homepage. If I click this, I go to fabric. And if I copy this link and I just open it here, you can see that I just land on fabric. If I close this, I go back to the homepage. So these are real page transitions and they look really, really nice. Actually, I don't really want to go through how my whole process of creating this, because it's again a little bit out of the box. I don't think this is the intended behavior or use case for layout templates, but let's just take a quick look. So basically, I'm just utilizing how, these elements within the layout template is not getting reloaded when we're switching pages. So what I can do is I can place a navigation component within the layout template, set it to absolute positioning, pin it to the left, top, and right, and also set its height to 100 VH, so it always takes up the given viewport. So now this navigation component that I created with these two cards always takes up 100% of a given viewport. And then I just had to, create two little variants for it one is rustic and one is fabric, and I had to, you know, nicely animate between these with components, but this has no, you know, nothing to do with layout templates. In order to do this, you just need to know how to use components and variants to then be able to create in animations like this. So for example, if we go here on appear, you're gonna see that it's like a smooth animation. For some reason it's getting a little bit bigger right here than it should. It's probably like a little framer bug, but yeah, what you get what I mean. I'm not gonna go deep into how I did this, but just so you know, just think about all the craziness that you can do now with layout templates if you just think outside of the box just a little bit. This is also going to be a project that I'm leaving as a remix down in the description. Okay, so now you have to really pay close attention because I'm revealing my new default responsive site structure that I'm gonna be using now with this, you know, new feature. So basically what I'm gonna do from now on is that I'm gonna always create a default layout template that is going to include a simple navigation and a footer, and that's it. I'm gonna not change anything on this layout template. It's gonna have like 0 gap, 0 padding, you know, a white or black fill color, and basically that's it. Then back on the page level, I'm going to create always like a main container within the desktop breakpoint. So I'm going to start by drawing a large frame here, and I'm going to rename it to main. I'll set it to width fill. The height can be 1000 pixels for now, and then I'm going to remove the fill color and turn it into a stack with this little button right here. The direction of this container will be vertical, the distribute will be start, and the gap will be 0. And I'm going to also add an accessibility tag of main to this main container. And now within this main, I'm going to put a bunch of sections. So for example, here we have this hero section. I'm just going to comment an X and paste here with comment and V. I'm going to set it to width fill, so it fills up the available space no matter the screen size. And then the height will be 100 VH because this is a hero section. And then I'm going to set the main to fit content, so it fits the sections within. And now I'll just, paste in new sections and as many sections I just need. And by the way, the structure of these sections are the following. So basically, they all have the accessibility tag section. And then on these sections, I set the top and bottom padding to 100 and 100. So on the section level, I define the top and bottom padding. And within the section frame, I'm creating these content frames. And these content frames will have different max width values. But before I explain that, content frames will have the left and right padding. It's gonna be usually 20, 20 on both sides. So again, top bottom padding on section, left right padding on the content, and everything will go within these content frames. The text layers, the buttons, the images, everything, the site content. And so what is content L, what is content S? Basically, these are max width values that I define as like templates for these content frames. The reason why I'm doing that is because if I resize this view right here, you can see how the content is getting pushed together. And I don't really like it because then I might miss a few breakpoint sizes where my design looks a bit off. And that's why I'm going to show you a little trick for this. So content L basically means that, okay, I'm gonna have a large max width value on this, maybe 1000 pixels on the desktop. So it's not growing bigger than 1000 pixels. And then on the tablet, I'm defining 700. So it's gonna be overridden here to 700. And as you can see, it's smaller than the actual breakpoint right here. So what I'm seeing right here will actually be the thing that the visitors will also see. There will be no in-between states. When I jump to that tablet breakpoint, my content will just jump to that new 700 pixel max width. And for me, it's a little bit more like I just have that peace of mind that I know that, okay, I designed 3 versions. I'm going to show a phone in a minute. And I know that, okay, it looks like this. It looks great. Everything is optimized on these views. and it will look great on all devices. On phone, Content L could have max width of 400 pixels. So for the Content L, we would see a progression of max widths like this. As you can see, it's just jumping to these new sizes. And for Content S, just to have some playfulness or like some differences in these content widths, because for example, if we have like a paragraph, we don't want it to be like 1000 pixels. We want to make sure that it's contained a bit. So Content S could have 600 pixel max width on desktop. On the tablet, it could have 500, and on phone, it will have 400. So 6, 5, and 400 pixel max width on that. And now you can see that both of these content frames will nicely be jumping into these new defined max width values. And I know that I designed this, this, and this, and it will look exactly like this on all devices. And the great thing about this is that then I can just duplicate this section, remove all the elements within these or from these content frames, and now I'm left with an empty Content L frame, but it has all those overrides that I added to it. So on here desktop it's 1000 pixel, on tablet it's 700, and on phone it's 400. So I just had to define it once, and now I just copy and paste it to other pages as well, and this override across these different breakpoints will be kept. So, I don't have to go ahead and edit each and every time. So yeah, basically that's it. That is my new default responsive site structure when I'm building sites in Framer. I really do hope that this video was helpful and you were able to, get up to date with the latest, best practices when it comes to building websites in Framer. I think layout templates is a super addition to the different features, the different amazing features that we have inside of Framer. So yeah, shout out to the team. Make sure to leave your questions in the comments if you have any. And yeah, also check out Framer.university for other cool resources, tutorials, remixes, components. Basically, if you're a big user of Framer or you're just getting started, it is probably going to be a great little website for you. So yeah, like this video, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next one.